I'm Amy from Doodle Dog Designs. Today I'm going to be talking about rug hooking. If you do rug punching with a punch needle and yarn, or you do rug hooking, you are probably familiar with monk's cloth. Monk's cloth is a foundation fabric that is used for both of those. There are other foundation fabrics that people also use for rug hooking. I like to use the monk's cloth, especially when I'm making a pillow. I just feel like it's softer and easier to manipulate than some of the other foundation fabrics. But if you've used it much, you know that it will unravel on the edges very easily. So today in this video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can finish the edges to keep them from unraveling while you're working on your projects. So the first thing you can do is use a serger to serge the edges. And that's probably the best method, the most effective at keeping things from unraveling, but I know not everybody has a serger, so I will talk about other methods also. I am going to be using my Bernina serger. Any serger would work. It doesn't need to be fancy serger. You're just going to do a simple 4-thread overlock stitch. So I'm going to line up my cutter. This is my cutter with the edge where it's not unraveled there with the edge of the fabric. And I'm going to just start sewing. You can see here I'm going back and forth a little bit, so I'm not always necessarily right on the same thread because it has unraveled some, so I won't worry about that as I'm sewing the edges, because I'm going to be hooking in the middle and I won't be hooking right on the edge anyway, so it's not going to matter if this isn't perfectly straight. So you can see where I have serged that it gives a nice finished edge and it is not going to unravel. Now on this side, it hasn't unraveled as much, and I'm going to use a zigzag stitch on my regular sewing machine. If it had unraveled a whole bunch, you might want to trim it down close so that you don't have a lot of fray here. But it's not too bad, so I'm going to go ahead and just stitch it as it is. I'm going to choose a zigzag stitch, and I want it to be fairly close together, so I'm going to decrease that. So I'm going to sew right over the edge of the last strand of fabric here, and I'm just going to do my zigzag back and forth. And I have chosen here a contrasting thread so you can really see what I'm doing. So you can see here where I zigzagged it. It's not as pretty of a finish, even if I were to have used the same color matching thread, but it's not going to unravel anymore. It's going to hold while you do your project. Now, if you don't have a sewing machine or a serger, that's okay. There's still an option. You can get some plain old masking tape. You could use painter's tape, masking tape, whatever you have on hand. This has got quite a bit of excess fray here, so I am going to trim it down a little bit. So I'm going to take a piece of the masking tape and put it over the edge of the monk's cloth, but I want it to be a little bit over the edge. So there's some part of it that is not taped to the fabric, a little bit, about 1/4 of an inch or so. And then I will take another piece and then I'm going to put it over the top of that. So I flipped this over and then I'm going to put it over. So I'm going to match up the edges of the tape, and that will cover the edges and keep it from unraveling, and then it will stick. If I were to just put it on the very edge, the tape wouldn't stick to itself to give it a border of protection there. And I can just keep doing that all along my unfinished edge. You could try to do one big piece. I find it's easier to do small pieces. It's just much more manageable for me. When you get your monk's cloth, you will notice that the selvage edges have a stitching along here, and they are not going to unravel easily. Both of the selvage edges. So you don't have to worry about those edges unless you were to cut a piece for a smaller project. Now, one other thing that I do use if I'm making pillows and I'm turning the fabric and I want to cut the corners before I turn the fabric to the back is I will use some of this Fraying. It's a fabric adhesive, and I will put that on the places where I have cut the monk's cloth, and that will keep it from fraying. There's not enough room there when I'm doing that to serge it, and I don't want tape on the inside of my pillows, so I will use this, and that also works really well. But you do have to put this on and then let it dry good before you can proceed with the project. Thanks for watching. Be sure to click the like button and subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Bye.